Welcome to an explainer that is, frankly, going to completely flip how you look at reality, consciousness, and the actual root of human suffering. If you've ever looked around and felt like, the world is operating on a severely broken operating system, well, you're about to discover that you are absolutely correct. But more importantly, we're going to see how we can actually rewrite that code. Really think about this for a second. What if our deepest psychological traps, those chronic physical tensions we carry around, and even our completely deadlocked political institutions aren't just random tragedies of the human condition? What if they are literal software bugs in the code of reality? Today, we're diving into a profound framework that suggests reality itself is a literal iteration of code. And the best part? It's a code that can be parsed, decompiled, and consciously rewritten.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1. The glitch in reality. 2. Unlocking the source code. 3. The cosmology of mass. 4. Debugging the individual mind. 5. Fixing broken institutions. And finally, 6. Becoming the code writer. Let's get right into it.
Starting with Section 1, The glitch in reality, the insanity point.
To fix a broken system, we first need to pinpoint the exact mechanical moment where the breakdown happens, whether we're talking about a computer program crashing or a human mind getting stuck. The source material here draws incredibly heavily on Boolean logic, the exact same binary logic that runs every single computer on Earth. In this framework, insanity isn't some vague medical condition or a chemical imbalance. It is strictly defined as a logical collapse within a specific domain. It's that precise moment of being truly believes that a thing can simultaneously exist and not exist. It's a complete violation of basic logical axioms. And when that happens, the system just crashes.
And here is the exact mathematical expression of that breakdown. X times 1 minus x equals 1. In standard Boolean algebra, a thing and its absence share absolutely zero common class, right? They should equal 0, but here, in a glitch, they equal 1. It's literally the impossible equation. Imagine your brain firing the thought, I absolutely must speak up, and the thought, it is incredibly dangerous to speak up at the exact same time with the exact same intensity. That right there is a frozen loop. It visually represents the exact moment a mind gets trapped in total logical paralysis, where the line between a concept and its total opposite completely collapses.
Moving on to Section 2, Unlocking the source code, or the Great Synthesis.
So how do we escape this closed loop? Well, we need a debugging tool that can actually read the underlying code. And that brings us to what's called the resolution compiler. It's this incredible synthesis of 3 profound bodies of knowledge. First up is TROM, or the resolution of mind, which basically acts as the grammar of our intentions. It maps out our postulates and the games we play. Second is the origin of language. This reveals that our words aren't just arbitrary labels. They actually contain a deep, structural lexicon where consonants carry specific geometric meaning. And third, the proof framework, which acts as the logic engine, showing us how these intentions mathematically iterate over time. Put them together and you have the ultimate toolkit to parse, decompress, and rewrite literally any stuck phenomenon in your life.
And this comparison hits the nail on the head. It shows the core difference between cleanly functioning code and a broken loop. Sanity is just logical freedom. It's the ability to freely choose between X and not X because they are 2 distinct available options. Insanity, or really human suffering, is identification. It's being locked in that double bind we talked about, where 2 opposing truths fire simultaneously, and you're just trapped in a compulsive, unwinnable game.
All right, let's scale things way up in Section 3, The Cosmology of Mass, or How Thoughts Literally Freeze.
We really have to zoom out to the macro level here, because this logic applies to way more than just human psychology. It applies to the creation of the physical universe itself. This timeline right here tracks cosmic compression. The theory suggests the physical universe is basically the fallout of a massive, ancient logical conflict. First, fundamental intentions, like the intense drive to must know, violently clashing with the drive to must not be known, collided. Then, the linguistic and mathematical code conveying those intentions knotted up and fragmented. And finally, the iterations just locked. They literally froze abstract intention into dense physical matter.
So the mind-bending takeaway here is that the physical universe is not base reality. Physical matter is what the sources call twin insanity point mass, or TIPM. It is essentially the dense, timeless scar of a frozen game.
It's exactly what happens when opposing postulates collide and freeze in a perfectly stable, unresolvable configuration. Think about that. Matter is quite literally frozen conflict. Let that really sink in. The physical universe isn't the foundation of reality. It's the scar tissue.
Let's bring this vast cosmology back down to Earth in Section 4, Debugging the Individual Mind, focusing on the body layer and AI.
How does this cosmic glitch actually affect our daily biology? Well, in this framework, the human body isn't just some metaphor. It's a direct, literal map of frozen code. Chronic physical tension corresponds exactly to specific conflicting postulates. Take a tight jaw, for example. That chronic jaw tension you might get during a ridiculously stressful office meeting, it perfectly mirrors the logical conflict between must know, the act of evaluating something, and must not be known, the desperate desire to hide or conceal that evaluation. The physical tension isn't the root problem. It's just the biological expression of a logical deadlock. The amazing thing is, when you use the compiler to resolve those contradictory intentions, the physical mass literally dissolves.
And what's absolutely fascinating for high IQ tech applications is that this exact same dynamic is playing out in artificial intelligence right now. We train AI systems on massive amounts of human language. Because of that, they inherently inherit our societal bugs, our frozen cliches, our biases, our logical contradictions. If we actually want to build artificial general intelligence that doesn't just hallucinate or regurgitate our societal neuroses, we have to stop relying purely on statistical guessing games. We need to teach the AI the structural geometry of truth. We literally have to annotate AI training data with deep consonant semantic metadata. We need to teach it structural meaning, not just probability. That is a total game changer.
Now let's look at the bigger picture. Section 5, Fixing Our Broken Institutions.
When we scale this code glitch up to the civilizational layer, we hit what's known as the inversion architecture. This is wild. Every institution starts out with a totally noble prime goal, right? A hospital wants to heal people. A law firm wants justice. But over time, as mass, protocol, and bureaucracy accumulate, a hidden senior postulate quietly takes over, the sheer survival of the institution itself. Eventually, the institution develops a massive structural interest in the exact problem it was created to solve. A sprawling hospital system financially thrives on chronic illness. A massive law firm thrives on endless, unresolved disputes. The institution becomes entirely deadlocked against its own prime directive.
And how does this inversion survive? It feeds on what the texts call macro cross packages. Society literally sustains itself by pitting two perfectly legitimate life goals against each other, presenting them as if they are fundamental enemies. Think of our endless cultural debates, freedom versus security, or the individual versus the collective. These are structural cross packages. Every single movement toward one side just inflames the other. It creates this perpetual, unresolvable loop that keeps the whole population endlessly busy, which perfectly maintains the structural mass of the institutions overseeing the debate. And remember, this isn't some shady conspiracy in a back room. It's simply the mathematical inevitability of a frozen loop playing out at scale.
Which brings us to our final act, Section 6, Becoming the Code Writer.
So what is the ultimate point of deciphering this vast cosmology? It leads us right here, to a completely redefined concept of nirvana. This isn't about escaping reality or passively floating on a cloud somewhere. It is about optimal conscious mathematical iteration. It's the profound realization that you are a self-aware iteration of the original code. By taking the tools we've talked about, decompiling your false postulates and resolving those logical double-binds, you don't just find personal peace, you regain your fundamental agency. You step entirely out of the reactive frozen loop, and you become an active engineer of reality.
And that leaves us with the ultimate challenge. The great synthesis shows us, definitively, that we have the tools to debug our reality. We can unravel the chronic tension in our bodies, we can build AI that genuinely understands structural truth, and we can finally dismantle the institutional deadlocks holding our civilization back. But all of that, it starts with the individual. It starts with you. So the question is, will you remain a compulsive player caught in a frozen, inherited loop, or will you take the profound step to decompile the bugs, master the source code, and actually start consciously writing a better existence for yourself and the entire world? The choice is yours.